You're listening to the Variety Sports Network, your home for the best sports podcasters and live shows.
And welcome to the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, episode 126. I'm here with Tyler McGurk. Tyler, how are we doing here today? Start of March, one of the big sports months of the year. How are we doing?
I'm doing good. We're starting March. So, in a kind of a somber way for me, I lost a cousin this week. But it is what it is. I feel for her 4 children. They were cousins to me as well. I love them all. Becky, rest in peace. But let's get to the show. I'm excited. It's one of the most exciting times of the year. March Madness is coming up. Baseball, basketball is coming down to the wire. And we're going to talk a little Reggie Miller.
Well, Adam there tuning in. Appreciate that, my friend here. Like I said, episode 126 here. We got a lot to get into. Got a big show planned for you. We'll touch on a little bit of everything. Like I said, just me and Tyler this week. Tyler, it's been a while, so I'm excited to get going with you. Like I said, be a fatty, support, follow us. Follow us over at Fatboy FadeAway. Check our merch out there on Bonfire. Also check us out at Variety Sports. A lot of good shows out there, like Adam's show, the baseball show they had going on over there. They do a good job with it. They were talking Indians. It was, I think, say Francisco Lindor maybe wasn't one of his favorite players of all time. So it was funny listening to some other, as more people have been joining the network, it's been cool checking in on other shows like that. So again, check us out. Be a fatty there. Appreciate the people that do tune in with us. Sorry if my voice is a little off, getting over a cold. Wanted to shout out though, Tyler, real quick. Big thanks to William coming on last week. A couple other guys always want to shout out. And William was really good by the way last week. Yeah. It was awesome having him come on last week. So I wanted to shout out guys like Ryan that tuned in last week with us, P Shark, Brian obviously always joins us most of the time here. Guys, Ant always tune in with good opinions. House of Agenda, another new pod, of course, your brother who's maybe like it a little bit more Sharks this week, Ryan. I'm going to get to it later. You got to tune in. You'll get a little bit more Shark talk later. And of course, our guys at Out of the Mind Falcon podcast, 7th Inning, tons of other guys, DA, I'm forgetting them. But just want to shout out those guys as we keep it going. Dude, I like this good comment. That's perfectly fine, my friend. We like a bias. I'm sure Tyler won't be at all during this whole
No,
time.
I'm never biased towards Bay Area teams. Never.
All right. Well, with that said, why don't we get into it? This is why I thought it was kind of an interesting take earlier in the week here with the wake and hot take here a little bit. Here we have Klay Thompson or Reggie Miller. And I guess it came up this week because we were on with who were we on with? We were on with or you made the comment during the week with C. Henry about or hold on a second. Before we actually get into it here, maybe we have a special guest joining us here. We do. Wow, the original, the big 3 is back here. Can we believe it? A special guest coming in.
How you doing, Chris?
And what has it been, man? Like 9 months? How are we doing?
Oh man, coming out of retirement, ready for the playoffs.
So I see how it is. You guys come in and we're talking Klay versus Reggie. I'm getting ready to defend Reggie now. I'm getting ready for maybe a little 2-on-1 action here, but let's get into it, my brother. This is my brother Casey Breyer. Been a while, my friend. So let's get right into it. We're just about to get into Klay and Reggie. Like I said, to me, they're so close together. Like the way their careers look. If you look at their stats, just like it's just scary how similar a lot of their things are. Both going to be Hall of Famers at the moment right now, both 5-time All-Stars, just little things like that. Kind of right around, the same player, all teams too. Tyler, I'm going to give you the first take on this, just as, we're here with it. Obviously, who are you taking? But then, give me the reason why here. I'm going to have some stuff going at the bottom here with some stats and follows, things like that. So go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, let me show my little bias being a Warriors fan forever. I just think Klay Thompson's a better player and can do more on a basketball court as far as offense and defensively. Offensively, they are so close. They're almost identical when it comes to numbers. They both are clutch. Reggie might have a couple regular season clutch wins. Yeah. But the people who take away from Klay being like, oh, he's only been a Robin, so he can't be better than a guy who was a guy who led the team. And it just doesn't make sense to me because he's never been given the opportunity to. And if he was given the opportunity to and was put in the same situation as Reggie Miller, I think
Yeah.
his numbers would be better than they are. And then, like I said before, the deciding factor is just defensively. Klay Thompson guarded the best guy best perimeter player every night in playoff games down the stretch, the finals, Western Conference Finals. So, like, he went up against the likes of Kyrie in the finals, and James Harden in the finals. Well, Reggie was not guarding Michael Jordan. So that's why I would take Klay. I agree Reggie's a Hall of Famer. He's a great player. I'm not trying to diminish him. But if it push comes to shove, give me the bigger guy, the stronger guy, and the guy who plays a little better defense.
Casey, been a while, my friend. Let's get your first thoughts on it. Klay or Reggie. And the thing with Reggie, I want to say real quick before we get a little, because Tyler did talk on Klay, is the thing with Reggie is there was a clutchness to him. You know, there was this there was aura around him with it. And maybe a little handsy with shoving off into that aura as well. But your thoughts here on Klay and Reggie and that discussion.
They're very similar in certain aspects, but I think they both got the same type of tenacity. Like Reggie was a little bit more vocal about it, but Klay's pretty nasty. Like if you get him going, like he's just kind of a stone cold killer. Like he doesn't really mess around with a lot of stuff, and that's where him and Reggie are similar. Like, you know, especially like Game 6 Klay. I mean, you don't get a name like that for no reason. I mean, just the Oklahoma performance that he had was just spectacular. But I mean, Reggie, I mean, you go into the Garden and do what he did and do the choke job. You know, he's got really iconic moments, you know, and then like the big push off against Michael Jordan that they didn't call, and, you know, it made that one. So, I mean, there was that clutchness, but I mean, overall, I mean, like Tyler was saying, Klay's game, he's two ways. Like, I mean, just his defense tenacity, the way he went after it. I mean, it's just, it is kind of tough to, you know, compare eras because it's different, but I would roll with Klay. He just, I don't know. There's something about him that sometimes you watch him, it's just like he looked like he just played in the park. Like he just like, all right, that's cool. Like I got you. Don't worry. Just give me the rock. I'll do my thing. You know, Steph, you can defer and, you know, let him be the big star, and he doesn't care about it. He's just like, I just want to hoop. I just want to win.
Now let's go to the Reggie side of it a little bit, because, you know, obviously out of sight, out of mind a little bit, right? There is that part of it. It's been a while since we've seen Reggie. He played in a game that was definitely at a slower pace back then, right? If you look at the 3-point attempts, he's not good. He would definitely get more now. We can all get all the what ifs. But I think if we still look at it, Miller, I think only averaged like 1 point less than him still to this point right now in his career. I just think for me, the reason I think Reggie, I think this comes down to it because Reggie made the top 75. And Klay did it. So like there is like, but right, there is this like when you have that, it's this weird thing like, well, maybe Reggie is better. Like, or are we just going to be, top 100, Klay will join it. But there is in that ranking, that's what that tells me in some regard, right? That the NBA thought that. But
well, they also thought that Klay was an all-star and he had 37 points in a quarter.
That's true. I agree that. But I think with Reggie, I think we just forget how like, at that time, how elite of a three-point shooter he was compared to everybody really else at that time. And then Ray Allen, I know, came along, and there was guys like Curry's dad and stuff like that. But the way Miller did it was so unique. Like the way, as much as he ran, he was one of the rare players that did that. And for as accurate as he was, and he took some difficult threes, I always felt like towards the end of the game, and made it. And you know me, I like players like Miller a little bit, like that are going to talk a lot of trash and are going to get under people's skin a little bit. And nobody did it better than him, right, at that time. Like I think I wrote down here in one of these things, like Patrick Ewing, he said, Reggie went by. He's one of the players you want to smack. You know, he's the guy that you want to smack the most. And I appreciate that part of him.
A little too sweaty for me.
But I just feel like I feel like if we took Miller's game and put it 30 years later, I don't see how Miller – you guys said the defense, but I just feel like Miller was a little better. I don't know. Maybe am I just wrong thinking he carried a team for 18 years? I'm a little unsure. Like, would Klay be the same thing? I guess they're just so even in a lot of regards.
See, I think he could do the same thing. This what if thing, like you're diminishing what Klay did because he did.
I'm just trying to get the other side.
And I get that. Like, I do. And I think the Warriors wouldn't have won less championships with Reggie Miller. It's picking little, like, nitpicks at this point. But I just think Klay could do everything Reggie could do, and he's a better defender. While Reggie is very clutch and did lead a team in the locker room and was the locker room leader, where Klay's never done that. And he's never had to. But, like, just to diminish him because he hasn't been given the opportunity, and that's your critique of him, just rubs me the wrong way.
Well, I think for me, I think Miller, like I said, for me, it's the clutchness too of him. To me, that like I will never like. To me, that part of him was just so like unique for that time. Like that's what I remember the most about him. Is like it felt like he hit every big shot in big moments in the games. I know he didn't, but that's what it felt like from him. I just think that he gets a little overlooked now because of Klay in that regard of it. But obviously, he made the top 75, so. From a whole, he wasn't overlooked in that regard. When you think of Miller,
but hold on, back to that top 75 point. Reggie had 18 seasons to put into that top 75 voting, where Klay had 9 or 9.5 at the time, and he missed 2 with injuries. So it's just like it's hard to compare someone.
Yeah, like Adam said there too.
Yeah, exactly.
But real quick, what's a moment? I just want to kind of go over these two. Like Klay, I was looking at, he might have more defining moments though. Like if you look at like his like the most quarters with points scored, the 3-point record, the 60 points in 3 quarters. Like Casey said, the 11 threes in Game 6. Miller though, his moment, right? His defining moment is kind of what we brought up earlier, is the next game. That's probably his most defining moment. And I would say the other one is the little shove with Jordan. Are those the two that you think of the most with Miller? Or is there something else I'm forgetting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one where he gets blocked by Tayshaun Prince.
Oh, that's a classic. I forgot about that. That was year 17, Reggie, though. It's hard to.
That's all.
I remember he had a big shot at the Nets earlier. Well, I just think it's an interesting debate. Like I said, the era is something we can't ever compare with something like this. But to me, it's always fascinating to look back at like two players that are very similar and just to kind of talk what if, where their place in history is. I think at the end of the day, whether you're on the Tyler Casey side of taking Klay or Reggie, I do believe it's very close. And I think there's just like these guys at the end of the day, wherever they're ranked, they're going to be right next to each other. That's kind of what I feel like the most with them. Tyler, any last thoughts on the Klay Steph thing here?
The Klay and Reggie
thing here, sorry.
No, it's just they're both great players. I loved both of them. Also watching them play, they play how I like watching basketball. It's not top of the key pick and roll. It's coming off screens, hitting jumpers, and it's just fun to watch. So Klay is my favorite player of all time, to put it out there, like as a Warriors fan. So I do have that bias, openly admitting that.
Man, Reggie did get it. People, I mean, that's the thing I got to learn about. He got under people's skin, especially the next days with Starks, and like some of their matchups were just crazy. I feel like there's a video out there of Jordan even trying to choke him out.
No,
right?
there is.
Yeah, there is. So they both went at it all the time, those guys. So that's good stuff there. All right.
One part Darren I was going to say about Reggie Miller during that year, a lot of people used to give him a lot of crap about like, I think he got it was, your sister's better than you. And so Klay with his dad, how they got the genetics. So it is kind of funny how they kind of mirror each other. But yeah, no.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that part of it. Yeah, there is a lot of similarities with them, I guess, from that regard. Both played in Pac-10 schools. All right. So that's our wake and hot take. I thought that was a good debate between Miller and Thompson there, just to kind of look at both their careers there. I encourage you to go look at their NBA reference pages. I mean, they're like, if they're off, if one person's ahead, it's not by much in any category. No. It's so close. So, all right, let's keep it moving here. Let's go to the dubs this week real quick here. Klay on fire, like we were just talking about, on a 5-0 homestand. I mean, the man is just ridiculous. He's on a 2-month, just absolute heater right now. Absolutely on fire. The Lamb Jerome dilemma we'll get into here first. But, guys, what do you think about the Warriors' idea of having the mojo back? They're all the way up to the 5 seed now. Right now, they'd be playing the Suns. I don't know about that. But not for that. Well, what do you think about, are they back? Are you buying it now that they're 5-0 on this homestand, Tyler?
I'm back that they're ready to try and win games and play defense for the full 40. Yeah, they're getting off to slow starts. They came back from 15 the last 2 games, which has never happened in NBA history. But you can see the defensive intensity from DiVincenzo and even Klay guarding Ingram. He had a couple steals and a couple plays where I was like, wow, he was not keeping guys in front of him like that earlier this year. If Steph gets back healthy, I think they're right for making a run this year. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think this would happen, but it just seems like they are ready to make that run for the Western Conference playoffs.
Case, your thoughts on the 5-0 homestand? My thought is I'm a little worried still because of the road record. So, like, I need to kind of see that for me to fully buy into this whole, like, switch thing. And I'm excited that Peyton or Curry are loving it on the bench and they're hugging it out. That's good vibes. I can appreciate that. But the reality is they got to be able to win those road games again come playoff time. That's where I'm fully buying into it. It's definitely their best stretch of basketball probably all season, maybe, believe it or not. Case, your thoughts on the 5-0 homestand? Are we buying it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I am. I mean, it's taken them a little bit. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries, guys coming off and on, trades, certain people like Wiseman not being able to fit in. The rotations have just been all over the place, and almost looked like Steve Kerr really just like didn't care for a little bit. He's just so flustered. He was just like, I can't deal with this. Like, you guys just deal with it. I'm won my championships. Like, we don't need to go through this crap. But I think
he was like punishing the team almost.
It was
like,
weird.
You will lose this game. You will feel that.
He did feel that way.
Anthony Lamb is playing 30 minutes.
But I'm buying into it though. I think the thing that's nice is that I think they're 6-4 without Curry. So I mean that's the big number. I thought if they could stay like somewhere around 500 when he got injured, that would be key. But now they've rallied off 5 in a row, and they've beat some pretty decent teams like Minnesota, and just playoff in the hunt. I mean, everyone's in the playoff hunt this year, but I mean, just to see them come around and actually play defense, that's the nice part. Like, it reminded me of the championship run they had when they played the Clippers the other night when they're. I mean, it's just amazing how they need to fall behind by 10 points to come back and win.
Yeah, but that's not championship. That's not that is the weirdest thing. It's so funny. Like, they used to, in the old era, they used to like get out to this massive start. That is not the case with this new era, where we got to get down by 10 to get any juice flowing in them. That was the thing that still kind of concerned me about the homestand, is they were down by 10, I think, for the last 3 games, maybe 4. That's the part that worries me, especially when they take that energy on the road, Tyler. That's why, for me, it's like, I can't quite say the mojo's back, even though now they're into a 5 seed. Real quick about Adam there with that comment with the Kings. I'm still praying, guys. We've been saying it since we started the podcast. I would love for that Kings Warriors first round matchup. How awesome would that be? That'd be the best thing. But Tyler, what do you think of that mojo back? Like, I'm hesitant.
But we're missing our best player, one of our other better players. Who knows when he's coming back? Something's going awry there. That just doesn't make sense. He's been with his family for like 2 weeks. I hope his family's okay, but we haven't heard any like reports or anything. It's just wild. But if you get those guys back healthy with the way Klay's playing, the way Draymond's been getting to the hoop, he's being aggressive again like he was early part of the season. I think this team has it. Because as long as Lamb and Jerome aren't getting playoff minutes, or not a lot of playoff minutes.
Remember, they can't even play in the playoffs.
It seems like it's going that way, doesn't it?
No, remember I told you there's that 50-game limit. Lamb's up to 49. He can only play one more regular season game. He's down to the last one. So, and then like Jerome only has a few left. Remember earlier in the year we talked about this?
But they can't sign them to full contracts.
I don't think it works like that. I told you that. So I don't think they're even. So for me, Moody and who got sent down, and Kuminga are going to be huge here down the stretch. If that's the case, they can't play these guys that have been up, whether I hate them or not at moments, they've been big parts of the team, I guess you could say. So that's the way it is. Lamb Chop has been there. It's, my guy, Cy Jerome. I like that nickname for him. So that's my favorite with it. That dilemma for me will add something into it a little bit. All right. Memphis had a ton of things go on this week. We'll talk about that. But to me, the thing I really quickly wanted to get into with it, Tyler, was this Brooks Green thing. Just fantastic news on it. He goes on to say, down below, I'll have the quote there. I don't like Draymond at all. I don't like Golden State. I don't like anything to do with them. Draymond talks a lot. He gets away with a lot too. His game is cool, but it is cool with only Golden State. If you put him on another team, he would not be quite as good. Tyler, I believe our guy at 3 the Hardaway who will have an interesting podcast today, I'm sure. So check them out. Let's see where I got it. Oh, yes, I agree about this real quick. That is those comments.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get them either. My thing real quick with the Draymond thing with Brooks is it's funny for you because Savage, like I said, he tweeted a thing. Tyler's going to have quite the dilemma because that sounds like something that you have said about Draymond before. But at the same time, it's coming from currently the player you hate the most in the league. So it is a funny thing. Right away, that's who I was thinking of. So I think it's only natural we go to you because it seems like Brooks is saying what you've been saying the whole time.
Well, let's take the first part of the quote so I can rip on Dylan Brooks because he's a freaking idiot and he's a losing basketball player that Memphis will never win anything as long as he's in the starting lineup. I just don't like Golden State. I don't like anything with that. Well, we don't like you and you're trash. So I don't care what you have to say. But I agree with the part. Draymond playing with Golden State has been beneficial to him. I don't think anyone could disagree with that. If he went to the Pistons, he wouldn't be the same guy. Is he a good player? Yeah, he would have found a way to probably not be on the Pistons for very long because he wouldn't have been useful there. So, like, he would have found a way to get to a team where he is successful. He is a good player, but if you put him on a bad team, he's not making them any better. We saw that when Curry and Klay were hurt. They were just bad. It wasn't fun to watch. They couldn't score. They were just not good. So I agree with that part of the statement. But for coming from Dylan Brooks, he's the same. He's worse.
It's funny. I was at the dinner with my parents last night after a game, and we were there. We were talking about this. They were talking to me about this quote, and I don't know what it is. I find myself liking Brooks more. I don't know what it is about it. Like as time is going on, like I feel like these are the type of players that I'm attracted to that moment. The only difference between him and Green, they're so similar, and they will be future teammates at some point. They'll find a way probably on the same team. Is I feel like Brooks he just doesn't know his role on offense enough yet. That's the biggest that's his biggest issue is he doesn't know his role and he overshoots. That's always been his biggest critique. I just find it so funny that he has to continue to take shots at the Warriors when he just got more things to worry about. Like I don't think it's necessary for him. I just don't get it. And like that's the part of it where he does lose me a little bit. Case?
I mean, he's just saying stuff to say stuff. I mean, they've had this back and forth thing since the whole playing game a couple of years ago, and I mean we all know how I feel about Dylan Brooks after that Gary Payton second foul. I mean, that's who he is. He's just a dirty player. I mean, like you said, he's still trying to find like where he fits in offensively, but when it comes to just like those comments, it's just like, dude, yeah, I mean, you got nothing to say. He's a 4-time champ, like defensive player of the year. Like, how are you going to say he won't be anything? I mean, of course, he's playing with the best shooter of all time. I mean, you better be somewhat decent. Like, I mean, he's going to, do things that he's probably not, typical NBA player. Like, I mean, he's 6'5" and he can guard 1 through 5. Dylan Brooks can't do that, so in order for him to say like, that basically like, I don't respect Draymond Green, like his game because he wouldn't be any good without like these Hall of Famers around him. It's like, man, look at you and John Morant. Like
that's what Tyler's been saying though too.
You guys can't win. Like, I mean, like you can't.
Not with Dylan Brooks.
He's not.
That's true.
Like, I can't do it with him. Like he is. So many times we've talked about him. He always. I don't know. I don't want to give.
I got you. He kills you. I got you. And I think with go ahead, T.
Can you imagine having a player like that takes terrible shots almost every time he shoots the ball? It's like, what are we like? It was like having D'Angelo Russell, but a little better defender. Like it was like not as good of a scorer, just taking these weird shots that don't fit the offense. He's just not if he figured out his role, he could be a winning player. But at this point, when he's taking 15 shots a game, it's not going to work.
It's funny because we obviously have a lot of people from Memphis that tune in with us that are from, that are from Grizzlies countries here. I'm assuming Adam's not from Grizzlies country here. So it's funny that we got, two commenting two at the same time. And I got, speaking of Brooks fashion, I know you weren't a fan of that fashion statement as all. I liked Ant though, the guy that follows us. He's a chef in Memphis. And I love how he said, when he, the Stone Cold thing with the little strap that he wears over, and he's a chef case, and he goes, "I'm going to be cooking bacon in this today, or I won't be cooking bacon in that." So that would not be something you want to cook the bacon in, man. That'd be good. So I thought that was a hilarious tweet from him. Always appreciate our guy Ant there. So back to the Memphis side of it. Okay, let's go on from Brooks. We've kind of talked about that part of it enough. I feel like we kind of established, they're really, like I said, I think from a funny standpoint, I do see them being teammates at some point in their career. Like, I do see right.
Hopefully not in Golden State.
Happening. Let's go to a new segment we got this week. Who's hot, who's cold, presented by absolutely nobody. So what we got here is I'm going to start out with the cold part of it. Let's stay with the Grizzlies. Go full circle now with them in a little bit. Just a bad week in general, cold week. They lose Ja to the 2-game suspension for his just the IG gun thing there, just not being smart with that. At least I haven't been online in a while because I've been working on this morning to see if anything has happened new with that. But he got 2-game suspension there. Brooks, like we just talked about, he got his 16 technical, so he's going to be missing a game. And then they lose Clark for the year. That's a big, to me, underrated big deal. He's out with the Achilles injury, so you hate to see that. Tyler, just real quick on them. That to me, that was one of the colds for the week. It doesn't get much colder than that.
No, losing Brandon Clark to a season-ending Achilles injury is not.
Don't you think that's an underrated injury too?
Yeah, whenever they get, especially against the Warriors, he kills the Warriors on rebounding the basketball. Even though the Warriors did get a lot of offensive rebounds when they played in the playoffs. But back to Ja.
But you will get the only good thing about this is my son will get to see his favorite player in the league now, Xavier Tillman.
A lot of Chavi.
His name's Xavier, by the
way. But back to Ja, it's just sad at this point. Like, someone's got to get in his court. This guy could be worth $1 billion, like with the way money's going up, and like it's just, he has the Nike shoe that I'm sure is doing just great. He's sponsored by Powerade. And then he's going to get another $200 million contract once this one's up in 8 years. Like, what? Just chill out for 15 years, and you have generational wealth for 5 generations. Yeah, that someone has to get to him. That's all I got to say about that. It's just sad.
Obviously, looked like he had maybe a little too much in the system there.
Too much,
but just not. But like we said, there was we follow a lot of guys from Memphis in there. So like I found it very fast. I was just going through some of their tweets yesterday. And, the ones we really kind of trust in that regard that know their basketball case. And some of the opinions I really kind of trust with them, some of them were honest about it. They seemed like they were kind of hurt by it in some ways. Like, and I can relate to not to maybe that extent, but like even on an injury thing, like even with the Monte thing, I was like, what are we doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's not the same thing, but I even go to the Raiders. He's not nearly as good a player as Ja, but that guy Arnett or something like that. Remember, he got in trouble, and then like the next day he's on with that. It's like, if that happens, like it can be kind of like disappointing if you're a fan of that team. Your thoughts on that and the Grizzlies in general in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, it's disheartening. I mean, everyone to see it happen, right? I mean, just someone that's got that much, like Tyler was saying, just just the skill, the ability to do what he's doing, and now that he's made it on the big stage, it's hard to like maintain it and stay there. Sometimes the glitz and the glamour gets like overwhelming. Like, you still want to go back to your hood days, or like hanging out with people that weren't necessarily good influences. And now it's like, man, like just kind of like take a step back, realize like where you're at like in life, and know that these guys will do anything they could to be living your life, and you're trying to live their life, which is sometimes it gets twisted. But yeah, I mean, as a fan of the Grizzlies, I would think, you got all this so much, like, I mean, all these guys are like pretty much in their mid-20s, young 20s. Like, I mean, you got a run here that you could really pull off.
No doubt.
And now it's like, man, you start seeing them kind of, I mean, they're still,
little cracks.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah. But, I mean, Taylor Jenkins, I think he's a good coach. So, I mean, they got the right guy in charge. It's just, I mean, players are going to do what they want to do, right? At the end of the day, I mean, you can only.
Yeah, this is a road game. This is right after the Nuggets game. This isn't something like, you know what I mean? It's not even like they were in the off season.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, sure, but I mean, like,
obviously he was joking.
People are going to do what they do. I mean, I mean, look what Urban Meyer did. You know, like people are gonna make dumb decisions. You know what I mean? Like
Urban Meyer, yes,
even
that
as an
was.
adult, you know, like I mean, you can have all the money in the world, but you go do what you're gonna do, right? As an
Yeah,
individual, you're
no
gonna make
doubt.
dumb decisions. It's gonna happen. It's just how dumb
But
are
this
they gonna
coming
be?
on the heels of the Pacers thing, where you have supposedly a laser pointer coming from a gun at like Indiana staff members, and then you have the kid saying whatever he said. Not that that's true. I don't know what happened, but and then you're gonna flash a gun on IG Live after all these reports. It's just tone deaf and not very smart. It
That's all.
leaves it's question mark. It just brings questions that shouldn't be
So,
there.
and I want to point out to be sure to tune into, like I said, tune into 3 the Hard Way today. Tune into the Starting Five podcast. I'm sure they'll have more. They'll have better insight even from them because they're from the city, so they'll have a better feel
Yeah.
for it. That's just our perspective on it from afar. But I do want to go back to the Grizzlies just real quick. That Cole part, I do think that Clark part's going to make a big deal going forward, especially if Adams stays out as well. So that was a big advantage for them. So I do think that's going to be something to go to with it. All right.
You think they'll play that big lefty at all? Who was the guy they loved in the G League the summer league? He was drafted, or maybe he was even undrafted. The big lefty was out of shape. What's his name? Lofton?
Brian
Is
Johnson.
that his name? Oh God, out of shape. Brian Johnson.
You said the lefty. I'm not even. I
think it's Lofton. I don't know though.
Kenny Lofton, yeah, Kenny Lofton. Kenneth Lofton, I think it is. Kenneth Lofton, I think it is. It is. I think it's Kenneth.
I do too.
All right, let's keep it on the cold side here. Let's go to Ryan here. Let's go to the Sharks here real quick. My goodness, talk about a franchise that has completely dropped off a little. They used to be good all the time, like at least like respectable in the playoffs. 4th straight year, not in the playoffs. They end up trading Timo Meyer, who was their best player at 26. And by all reports, nobody gives them better than like a B in the trade grade, and that was hard finding that. Just real quick on them for cold of the week, maybe cold of the season, Tyler. Just what a drop off this team has had.
Yeah, they were like the Dallas Mavericks with Dirk. They just make the playoffs, they'd eventually lose, but then Dirk put them over. And when the Sharks made the World or Stanley Cup, they couldn't do it. As far as the trade, Ryan, my brother, who actually I don't know enough, so I got an opinion from him. He didn't mind the trade. He said we're not going to be good for another 2 years and might as well join the Bedard sweepstakes. I don't know who. I've never even seen Bedard. I've just heard his name, but that was his opinion on it. And they weren't going to be able to sign him. He was going to want too much money, and the timelines didn't match up.
It sounded like just in the trade grades that they didn't get like a top prospect by any means. That's what it sounded like. They did get a 1st-round pick.
They did get an all-name guy, Sakir Muka Hamadou.
That guy. Yeah, that's what. Case, obviously, Dad watches the Sharks all the time. They've fallen on hard times at the moment. 4th straight year they'll miss the playoffs. Really bad. I want to move it on real quick to our next cold here, and I want to get your thoughts on this case. Jokic, can he not win 3 MVPs? Is that not allowed?
I mean, you can. I mean, Larry Bird did it. Like, it's a regular season award. Like, it's not anything to do with the playoffs.
I guess my point is more the voting. Will they allow it? They allow that to happen? And then, what do you think about my other take here? We heard Gilbert and Draymond on their podcast this week about international players maybe don't take as much heat as American players. I don't know. I remember Dirk taking quite a bit of heat at times there. I feel like now there's even more international. Like if you look at the top 10 players in the league, like if you could easily say maybe more than them are international or, we're not raised in America. So I don't know. Just to me, it's kind of it was an interesting take by Gilbert and Draymond. Not something I would probably agree with in that regard. But what do you think about that as well?
It's all subjective, right? I mean, if you're getting trash talked about you, but I just don't think it's like bipartisan. I think everyone, if you're not playing up to standards, you're going to get, people are going to talk about you. I mean, it is kind of like, look, you've won 2 MVPs. You probably should win the 3rd one this year. I mean, statistically, you can't just be like, we're not going to give it to him because he's won 2. And it's like, well, Giannis won 2 before he ever won a championship. So, I mean, it's, you know what I mean? It's not like it's never happened. So, and plus, Jamal Murray got injured. Porter was injured. So I don't put it all on Jokic. You know what I mean? He's played good in the playoffs. It's not just like, it's not his fault. I mean, granted, he don't play any defense in the playoffs. They just go 1-5 pick and roll and he's toasted. But Yeah, I mean, Denver, if they can't pull it off this year, I mean, all the criticism's going to come down really hard.
And I think that's the end of the day with it. But what do you think, Tyler, of that take? I thought that was funny. He does. Nobody looks like he takes more of a beat.
Always scratches on his arm. Looks like getting beat up.
He lives with 10 cats or something like that.
I mean,
what do you think of that part of it?
The international players don't take as much heat as Americans. I think that's kind of true, but once again, the source coming from Draymond, who talks like he's the greatest player in the NBA, so people have backlash, and then a guy who ended his career doing fake firearms in the huddle with tone deaf things like Ja was doing. It says, of course, you're going to get overly criticized from two guys like who act the way they do. These European guys are normally, for the most part, quiet and keep to themselves. So I think there's less like backlash for the things they do. Is it right? No, and you should keep it to a court. But I just think that's why it happens.
I just think the part that I find fascinating with them is I don't think that's actually true though. I think international players have took just as much heat, like in the regard. I mean, there just hasn't been as many good ones. Like, you know what I mean? Like now we're starting to get to the really good players, but Giannis won one young. If Luka doesn't win one in like 5 years, he's going to take heat too. Like, I mean, that's kind of my thought on it is like Nash took heat, right? A little bit too, but you know what I mean? He was kind of like the 6 foot guy. So they don't usually take quite as much heat as the other ones. I don't know. That's my thought with it. And you know, any other thoughts on that last part of it, T?
I just, you think any of them have taken as much heat as like James Harden or Kevin Durant or LeBron? Like, I don't think they get the heat those guys get.
No, they don't. But like you said, they don't necessarily put themselves out there as much. So do you think there's something to it? You know,
I do think there's a little bit.
Curtin brought it up earlier in the week too. He's stat padding a little bit.
Well, I think that's idiotic.
You know what I mean? Like
that's heat. I guess you're getting. That's idiotic. I think everyone dismisses that has a brain.
I mean, if he's stat padding, it's so stupid, Tyler. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I mean, they're 24-0 when he gets a triple double. Like, go get a triple double then. If you don't lose, right?
I agree wholeheartedly. If you can go get the stat, it's not stat padding. Like stat padding, what is stat padding exactly? Like you're getting the stat, you're getting the rebound because I just don't get it. Like
I mean,
go
like,
get stats.
The only stat padding thing I ever thought that I thought was like, but I mean, I understood it because at that point he was so close to averaging a triple doubles with like the Thunder would like purposely let Westbrook get the rebounds. But you know what I mean? But like even that didn't like even bother me. So this even less. Like if you watch the game, Jokic isn't out there doing that. He's not out there like, you know, manipulating the game, and the team isn't manipulating. The only thing they manipulate is giving the ball 90% of the time.
Stat padding is when Gerald Wallace throws it off his own backboard trying to get a triple double.
I thought that was Ricky
Davis. Bob Sura.
Yeah, on the bottom.
Yeah, Ricky Davis. Bob
Ricky Davis. That was great. I forgot about that.
That's stat padding.
That's a classic one. That's like one of those ones that will never get old. Ricky Davis. I forgot he was in. I kept thinking also on a Ricky Davis note randomly that he was in that Baron Davis was the Hornets that was in the Hornets player that was in the dunk contest when Vince Carter won it. I was wrong. It was Ricky Davis in a Hornets jersey. I never knew he played for the Hornets. I learned something to do that week. All right, so that was our cold week this week. Also was Jokic can't win in America. Is that with that? All right, last cold of the week, and this one is pathetic. Is Cal basketball. A record 3-28 to end the season, 2-18 to the Pac-10. I mean, you look at these offensive ratings and defensive ratings where they finish 358 out of 363 in offensive rating. Are you kidding me? Are you out of here? This team at least used to be in the tournament year in and year out and get eliminated in the first round and break my heart, but at least they got in the dance. It is not happening anymore. I don't know. The Cal has lost its way completely. I don't understand. 3-28. Are you kidding me, Tyler? You wear your Arizona hat and rub it and give me the middle finger. Unbelievable. And they've gone nowhere. They used to win the Pac-10. I mean, what happened?
It's embarrassing. I mean, all Cal sports, they just took a dump on the whole thing. They got too woke and they said we're not spending money on men's programs. Like, look, who was the coach at Cal that just went to the BCS playoffs? Like, they had that in their house. Yeah, he wasn't winning 10 games or anything, but you could tell they at least had Jared Goff and they could throw the ball. Sonny Dykes. Like, they had some talent there. Jeff Tedford. Then who was their coach? They had Newell. Then they had
Mike Montgomery for a little bit. That Ben Braun as their coach. They had good coaches in basketball. They had guys that were making the NBA out of Cal. Like they had guys that they were producing that were going to they would have players like Leon Poe or even
Jalen Brown.
Maybe illegally, but we got Jalen Brown.
Very illegal.
We got him in Cal. At the end of the day, like I think that ruined it too. That little stretch there.
Lorenzo Martin
with Ivan Rabb and Brown that kind of killed the program. But
he was stolen from Arizona that year. I was disappointed.
I remember the last Cal game I went to. Klay was on fire. He played for Washington State. They had Randall. Cal won the Pac-10 that year with Mike Montgomery as the coach. I don't know. That's a big time cold of the week. That's a cold of the year. Just pathetic performance by them. I had to throw them out.
I was
just awful.
I was at the game when they upset number 1 Arizona. That was very disappointing.
I really
Ryan, hold on real quick. In case Ryan's joining in, I just wanted to say, Ryan, we did have the Sharks as a cold of the week. Just pathetic. I just want to mention, you go back, listen to it, unless you were not there on it. We had it there. All right, let's keep it moving with the banner or with the brand here. Let's go to the hot of the week now. Let's go. We got cold. Let's go to some of the things that have been. This is kind of a funny one here. We've been doing these polls on Variety Sports Network football thing, and Tyler's been posting them of like Curtis Martin versus so-and-so, Curtis Martin versus, Edrin Drains, Curtis Martin versus, give me another one, Tyler, that they lost to, Frank
Gore.
And then he had Jerome Bettis, like I mentioned. Finally, it looks like Marshall Faulk will take down Curtis Martin, but Curtis Martin has been on fire this week, beating every running back. Casey, I just wanted to point that out with it. Is Curtis Martin as good? I think we forget about how good he was. I was thinking about that as we were going of it. He actually is. If you look at him, a lot of people have him as top 15 running backs of all time.
I mean, he was a hell of a running back, but I wouldn't put him ahead of. Marshall Faulk to me was just.
Would you have him over Edgerrin James?
Yeah.
Would you have him over Frank Gore?
Yeah.
Jerome Bettis?
Yeah.
Roger Craig?
I didn't get to watch enough of Roger Craig.
Tyro how about Adrian Peterson?
No.
Adrian Peterson's a different specimen. I don't think we got that far. I just thought that was funny, Tyler, this week with it. Real quick, Raiders also franchise tag Jacobs. That's a good thing. Also, Niners pursuing maybe Khalil Mack. Tyler, that could be something that would be very intriguing. That would be a big part for them. I think that would be a huge deal with them. Let's see. We got this here. He was such a good dude. Yeah, it was very interesting to listen to him. Yes, he was very interesting to listen to him in those regards. Curtis Martin also, the thing I found fascinating with him was like he won me my first fantasy football league. So thank you, Curtis, for that. You're a big part of that reason for me.
Did you have a nickname for him?
Huh?
Did you have a nickname for him?
I did not have a nickname for him. I'm sure you did. Probably something to finish up with. All right, let's go to the hot here. Let's keep it moving. We'll keep it hot like Tyler's on the pace for there. All right, let's go to the MLP pitch clock. We really were like speculating out this for months, Tyler, and going into the season, like how big of a deal it will be. The minor leaguers always said they liked it. The guys that got put down to the minors came back up. They liked it. Some of the players on rehabs, they liked it, came back. I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on now seeing it for the first week? We had a game end on it because the player didn't in the batter's box enough. People were like, oh, what is MLB doing? That's unbelievable. And then if you're like, yeah, but do you not understand? Like the games were 4.5 hours. Like it's unnecessary long. They needed to change this. Tyler, this is getting the most of it is this MLB pitch clock, but I'm seeing other things too, like the bigger bases. I think with stolen bases are going to be way up. You're going to see that from certain teams at least this year, or certain players definitely. The throw-over rule is great, but let's go to the pitch clock. And my favorite one was Max Scherzer saying, "Well, we got to get a real understanding of when the clock's at zero. Like isn't there an extra second?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What am I missing here? You got to be throwing the ball before it's zero." Like to me, it's pretty simple in that regard. I've loved it. To me, it's the best thing baseball's done. I don't even know when. It's the best thing they've done in a long time.
I'm with you. I love it. I think it's the best thing they've done since they lowered the mound in '59, and then before that, it was integration. That's how much baseball has not done for their game.
You're probably right.
Like 80 years.
That's
they don't. Crazy. This is the games are going faster. You get to watch baseball instead of human rain delays, like just holding the ball, just taking deep breaths. Like, I don't want to watch that. I want to watch the guy throw the ball. And then I saw the shift. I think it was Boston, went with a 2-man outfield to still pull off a shift. That was disappointing to see. I was hoping they could get rid of that but as far as the pitch clock, Max Scherzer, what do you like? does he want it to be like the NFL delay a game? Like you get a couple of seconds, like as long as it's you got to look and then it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, just throw the ball. I'm excited for the season as far as like not my team for the first time in a while.
It's going to be like anything else with baseball, right? Case like players are going to figure out a way to manipulate some of these things, right? Like that's just the way it's going to happen. Coaches are going to like right already. You see the Red Sox already kind of trying to take a little glitch in the rule with the outside shift for Joey Gallo. Well, screw Joey Gallo. Nobody cares about Joey Gallo. Should be out of. He's going to be like the tall center or the center that couldn't shoot anymore. He's going to be out of the league here soon. What are your thoughts on the? Are you going to watch more because of it? You're kind of the. I would say you're the demographic they're kind of shooting for, like somebody that doesn't watch every game, right? You're 35, right? Like Adam just said, 55 plus is the age most people watch baseball at. Not good. Most of those people are not going to be around much longer. So your thoughts on like the MLB pitch clock? Are you going to watch more because of it?
I'll watch opening day, and I'll watch the playoffs, but it's pretty much as far as it goes. But I mean, it's tough to watch sometimes.
But do you think now that the pitcher has 15 seconds, he has to throw the ball to the guy
no,
before 15 seconds?
I like that a lot. I mean,
yeah,
definitely it's a positive thing for sure. I think they've already said it's cut down. I think it's like almost 30 minutes per game. So, I mean, it's definitely going to help. I mean, like you said, players will find ways to manipulate different rules, but you can't manipulate time. It's going to go as fast as it is. So, I mean, 15 seconds is 15 seconons. So I just like it.
Well, not according to Max Scherzer.
Not according to Max. It's not as easy as 1, 2, 3.
There's an extra second on the zero. That's what you forgot there. That would be funny if somebody in the NBA said that. Like, it said 0, but I get an extra second. Don't you know, Matthew? Get on there and get an extra. I don't know. That one just cracked me up when he said that.
Like it, though. And then I think there will be some extra base running. I don't think it'll be, like, overly crazy. But I definitely think, just making, just any advance to make the game, like, more fluid and people, like, action, people moving. And with that, I just hope.
But not enough action to get Casey to tune in after opening day.
Well, it doesn't help that the A's are terrible. So I mean, it's like watching, it's like
whole
watching
new season, man. We're 0-0. Relax.
It's like Ryan watching his Sharks. It's a tough watch. It's not easy. You have to be a true fan that can sit through 9 innings for that.
I think in 2 weeks I should have you on to do a trivia of name all the A's players on the roster.
Oh.
Start studying.
I can tell you who they've traded.
Casey's like, Coco Chris. He's not on the team anymore. Let it go, man.
What about is Josh Fakeley on there still?
Jared Parker. He's on the
Who was the guy you loved, the switch hitter who I thought was terrible? I think he went to Detroit. Robbie Grossman. That's the guy.
I was thinking Milton Bradley.
Hey, he was good for a year for us, Milton. Adam probably is an Indians fan. He knew that. He knows Milton Bradley over there. Yeah, even Milton Bradley's been on a lot of teams. I liked him. I thought the guy that was going to be good was the switch hitter that they drafted in the first round from Miami. Weeks. I thought was that. Am I saying
Jamil?
Yeah, I thought he was going to be good for us. It didn't turn out to be very good. All right. So a lot of intrigue. Really, when this starts to go into the game, it will be very fascinating if the umps. I don't know. They say they are. So let's see. Will 0 mean 0? That's what that will mean. So that'll be interesting. Come the time with it. There at it, but we'll see. Let's see. We got to come on here. Yeah. Let's see. I think yes. The Teddy Brusquets. You can't go for the. It'll be interesting. Oh, my favorite video of the pitch clock too was that one where in the playoffs from a couple of years ago. That's impressive. Did you ever get a hit off of him? That's what we want to know. Were you able to hit the sinker away? Was he good? He was nasty today for a couple of years there. He just never could stay healthy. Appreciate Adam, like you said, tuning in with the commenting on the comments there. I found fascinating when there was a pitch. It was Baez on the Dodgers against the Cubs, and he literally took a minute and a half to throw one pitch. And the guy in the Pirates in spring training retired the inning in less than that. So basically, the guy got one inning. He got an inning out in a minute and a half. Pedro Baez threw one pitch in a minute and a half. So that's the reason they did that. That's the hot of the week with it. All right, let's keep it moving here. Real quick, I'm not going to go into detail with that. I want to say the Bucks and the Bruins there. Real quick with the Bucks, they ended up losing last night to the Sixers, but they were on a 16-game win streak. We talked about them against last week with the Celtics. They stay on a little bit on fire there. The Bruins, they're just absolutely on an NHL. They've lost 8 games all year. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. So they've been hot for the week as well. He did not get it. That's all right. You make contact. You foul off. You tip. All right, tip a couple off. You got to fight off the count. Work the pitch. At least get 4 pitches off those guys. I remember it is funny when you face a guy that has elite stuff, and I can't even imagine facing a big league pitcher. Like I remember facing that one guy who was better at basketball in our area. What was his name? Tiedemann. Yeah, the guy that he was more my age though, and like I remember when I faced him, and he had like just his curveball was different than most I saw at like age 12. Like my God, it's a little different. And that's only that level, so I can't even imagine that like that professional level. All right. Let's keep it going here with my question of the week. Tyler, I'm going to give myself a little credit. We're heading into March here with it. What do we got? What's an NC tournament game or moment that you'll never forget? I got a lot of good ones on Twitter I'm going to share here in just a second. But, Tyler, give me a few that you kind of remember the most.
Well, I'm wearing the Arizona stuff. The 97 run in general, just all time. They beat 3 number ones, first team to do that. Kansas, Kentucky, and UNC, 3 blue bloods.
Yeah.
So that's one. And then a downer Arizona one, obviously. I bring it up every March. Losing to Illinois and Darren Williams in the Elite Eight, just up by like 12 with 2.5 minutes left and not being able to inbound the damn basketball. And you have a free throw shooter like Salim Stoudemire that you should have been able to get the ball to. Just disappointing. I'll never forgive Luther Head and D. Brown.
That's a David you're thinking area, but Casey, you got an NCAA moment that you won't forget? Sticks out in your mind?
Oh man, obviously being a big Warriors fan, Steph Curry, Davidson, definitely, and even the game they lost to Kansas, that was still a hell of a game. I mean, just to run through a 10, a 7, and 2 number 2s, and then try and take down the number 1. I mean, it's pretty impressive. But I mean, if we're just going overall, though, I mean, it's got to be right, Christian Laettner. I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
that was one of the ones I got as well. Laettner?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be.
He should have been ejected. He stepped on that guy's leg on purpose.
Obviously, Tyler Cooper, Kentucky. Most people, I think, were at that time. Like I said, question of the week here brought to you by Row One Brand. Go follow them at Cool Stub. Get 15% off the code. Use VSN15. You get 15% off anything in their art gallery. I put down Casey. I'm surprised you didn't say this one as well. Paul Hamilton in the house. Ty S. Edney, the runner against Missouri, and he's going wild. That was the one I remember in 95, him hitting that one in the second round. That's the one I posted on Twitter that just will always stand out more just because of Pablo in that area as well. Just him going nuts at our house, rooting for UCLA. And that was a weird UCLA team if you look back at it. It was number 1 in the country, but a good team to just kind of a call, the Ed O'Bannon and like they had like 6 players go to the NBA from that team. Nobody really stood out though and then had an NBA career. A couple of those I wanted to point out. Our guy C. Wood, he had a few good ones. Casey, remember Alabama beating Stanford when they had Josh Childress in the first round there, or the second round. They upset them. Stanford, I think, was the number 1 seed. I think they had the Collins brothers at the time too. At that point, they eliminated that team, Alabama. He also pointed out one of our favorite ones. I remember this one because we were at Dana's house and her little small TV was UAB. They beat Kentucky. They made that little run to the Sweet 16. But the game I remember was the one versus Washington, though, is when they won 102-100. I just remember that game because of how the pressing and Washington played. And you had Robinson, who was just as quick as anybody. It's just the pace of that game is ridiculous. If you look at the box score, Brandon Roy, you only took 7 shots. What are you doing? You got to take more. Dave Robinson got a lot up, though, in that game, too. So that's one that, see what I got to shout at him. I always appreciate him. Checking in with me on the stuff like that as well. I had a couple others tune in, a couple other people. Casey said there was the Dayton over Ohio State. And then 2014, that was a big one for our guy Doug over there. He does the podcast over at House of Agenda. So those were just a couple other ones that people chimed in with. Also, a couple other people said the Wolfpack when they beat in 1983. That was somebody else that tuned in with one there. Obviously, a classic one there. So
was that the What a Boner?
Yeah, and then a couple other there was, and then the other one was
that Julius Hodges on there.
What's
1983?
Yeah, 1983, the one where
Well,
Wolfpack
Julius Hodge wasn't on the team.
No, it's the one where
Oh.
no, not Julius Hodge. No, it's the one where they beat Houston with the
I got
Jimmy
you.
V.
Clyde Slamma Jamma. Yeah.
Yeah. The white guy from from what was it? Valparaiso. What was it? I always forget the name.
Valparaiso.
Yeah. Bryce Drew with the shot against Old Miss. That one was mentioned as well as a favorite as well. So a couple out there. And then our last one, Seawood said with the Villanova one where they went 22-27, the perfect game. So with the NCAA tournament coming up, I thought that, and with me being sick on Friday, I thought this was a good tweet of the week. So go, like I said, go check out Row One Brand, VSN 15. Tyler, last thoughts on that?
Another good one's the Xavier. What's the team that with Jay Wright?
Oh,
Villanova versus UNC, the championship game where they hit the 3 to win it.
My favorite
ridiculous ending of the game. If you ever haven't seen the end of that game, just watch the last 2 minutes, and it's just a wild ride.
My favorite part of that game is the post stuff when you see Kenny Smith and Chuck. That's my favorite part of that whole thing.
The VCU had a pretty good run too.
They had a couple. That game against Kentucky, they had a good game there. I remember being at Hyle's house watching that game. He was a big Kentucky fan at the time. He was not happy about that. I know that went over there when was that Fred Van Vliet, and they had another guy on that team too. There's a couple.
Baker.
I also remember that one with UConn. They got upset by George Mason. That's a game that
who you're thinking of, Darren, is the guy he played for the Knicks. Was that Early?
Who?
Early was his last
Clarence
name.
Early.
And
they had Ron Baker who played for the Knicks as well.
Yep, that's the one I was thinking about there. All right. Like I said, we're coming on here at the end of the show here, just about to get to winners and losers. Appreciate anybody that's tuned in today. Appreciate, like I said, we had the shout out there to a lot of good pods. DA did a good article on top 10 defenders. Go check that out. Guys, supports the pod here. Appreciate Adam tuning in as well. Like you said, we need your help with this thing. Help us grow, with it. We help us get subscribers if you can. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll do our part to help retweet, but anything you can do to help us retweet, buy merch, anything like that, we just really appreciate. Yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Just anything like that, we really appreciate. Try to put in as much work as we can, give you guys as much content as possible. So just appreciate anything you guys can do with us in that regard. And like we said, we appreciate anybody that I know that already supports us in that regard. So appreciate you guys greatly in that regard. All right, Tyler, let's get to the end of the show here. Casey joining us for the first time in a long time. We got the big three back here, the original big three here. Talk Klay, talk Warriors, talk hot and cold. Let's get to winners and losers now of the week. Tyler, let's go with you. Who do you got? All right, let's go with you, Casey, first. Who you got as your loser of the week? You got one?
Loser of the week. Oh man, I thought about that for a little bit, but it's gotta be, to me, Ja.
Not a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to go that route, but I feel bad. You can't be doing that stuff. And I mean, a co-star with him, and I mean, that's a whole nother issue. But Brandon Miller doing the pat down pregame thing. I don't know if he does. Yeah. So those kind of go hand in hand for me.
Yeah, Tyler, loser of the week.
I got Serial gone. He fought John Jones last night and just got annihilated in a minute and a half. It was just John Jones is just a beast. He could go on the winners, but Serial gone just tapping a little early, some would say, but John Jones coming back after 3 years showing people who the GOAT is.
He got his paycheck in that regard, right? They want to get
Doesn't matter how long you're in that cage, you're getting paid.
That's why fighting, I always respect it, but it's tough for me in that regard. Like that part of it right there, with it, just like how quickly some of these main events can end. But I guess that's the exciting part of it too, if you're in the fight fan like game like that. So that's a good loser of the week there. I got a few A's in the Vegas talk again. We have that continuing this week with Vegas. It just seems like the more and more it goes on, though, it's like, how legitimate is it? Like, because it's not like the Raiders one where they quite have like something set yet. It's just kind of all talk still. So we'll see how that goes. That's definitely a loser of the week with that continuing there with it. I also have the Ball brother injuries. Man, these guys just can't stay healthy anymore. I don't know, like the Hornets, LaMelo Ball, he's down for the year now. Just can't stay healthy, man. It's just like they're both out now, so it's just ridiculous there. So I got loser of the week there. Go ahead, T.
Could LiAngelo end up being the best of them just because he didn't get a big contract, so at least he didn't waste their money? Like,
well, he wasted lawyer money. Donald
Trump helped him out. Got him out of
I guess so. Man, we'll say that. I don't think Mr. Ball agrees with that. I don't think the older Ball agrees with that one. So those are the loser of the weeks I got. Casey, also Jake Paul losing. I had that one earlier in the week. I'm glad he got an L defeated there with him there. Casey, what do you got for winner of the week?
Winner of the week, I'm gonna go with Giannis. Actually, he's been killing it, man. I love watching him play basketball. It's so fun to watch. We've never seen anything like that before. It's just like to see him like fully like healthy and kind of got like a scare with the wrist and did get to see him in the All-Star game. And it's just to me, it's got to be him. I mean, 16 wins in a row, that ain't easy. I know it wasn't like him all the way, but man, he's special. He's special.
No doubt. Tyler, what do you got for winner of the week?
I got two. I got Anthony Richardson just at the combine. The guy looks like a middle linebacker. Like when he's in his little combine outfit, he threw the ball great. You could see the zip. Obviously, his game film says he's a little inaccurate, so there's that. But at the combine, he's going to be a top 10 pick. There's no chance I think he slips outside of that with what he did. And then my other winner of the week is Antoine Davis, the guard from Detroit, who he did fall short, but he finished his career second all-time in NCAA in points, 3 behind Pistol Pete. Fun fact, Pistol Pete had 0 3-pointers, and this guy had 555. So if you added the 3-pointers for Pistol Pete, you just imagine how many points he scored. But, yeah, Antoine Davis is my winner of the week.
But that's the what if with there's a lot of what ifs as we got into earlier in the show there as well. All right, a couple of losers I forgot. Clippers 0-5 this week. Not a good week for them. And Jordan Ivey talked about the Pistons. He called a timeout when they didn't have any timeouts left on the sideline 30 years ago. 30 years ago, Chris Webber did the same thing. Unbelievable. Michigan, Detroit. How does that happen? How does it work like that? So, and I love the reaction of the coaches. Oh my God! And then like the players, we have no timeout. It's just like that one of those like classic reactions in sports where it's like, nope, that didn't happen that way. So just not a good look in that regard. All right. My winner of the week, I got Damian Lillard. He dropped 71 on Sunday. That still counts in the week last week. I mean, that's just ridiculous. He was just cooking that week. I got to watch the whole second half of that game. He was on fire. Just the Rockets Rockets probably looked like they're trying to get him 80. That's what it looked like. But he settled for 71 in the outcome there. I don't know, when he's got it going. Some people were debating, who's the better scorer of all time. Our guys over at House Agenda, they posed it. They actually thought Lillard is the better scorer over Curry. They acknowledge Curry's the better shooter. I don't know. What do you guys think of that real quick here? Like before we get out of here, what do you think of that little take of it? You think that's true? I said Curry's the better scorer still.
I'll take Curry any day of the week. So it's hard to say who's a better scorer when the player. It's not that big of a difference. Maybe Damian Lillard's better at getting to the hoop and getting free throws. I'll give him that, but I don't know. I'd rather have Curry shooting the ball.
Case.
That's tough. My boy James, that's like his favorite player of all time.
Lillard.
Yeah, I mean, scorer.
Even Xavier will be around the house.
Just pure scorer. I mean, yeah, I'd probably go with Damian Lillard. Just pure scoring, I go with Lillard.
Really?
I would, yeah.
Wow. I just feel like Curry's better at all 3 levels. What level is he better at?
Oh, you think Curry's a better around the hoop?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think he's got all the floater game shots. I think he has all those spin shots. We've seen him make them over the years.
I just feel like Damian Lillard can get his shot off all the time. Steph Curry kind of has a harder time sometimes. I don't know why. It seems that way to me.
You just remember Game 7 with Kevin Love D'ing him up.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn like that.
Can't get around it. I was like, come on, man.
That's terrible. All right, well, that's our winner. That's my winner of the week there at the Lillard 71. You drop that, you get a little winner of the week love there. How many more players will get 70 points? How many more players will get 70 points this year? That's the crazy part of it. All right, guys. I think that's the show for the week. Casey, we got your back, my man, for a week.
Good to see you.
Glad to have you, my man.
Good to be back. It was fun. Enjoyed it.
Tyler, you got
no laugh track. We missed all the opportunities.
I got a couple in there. It's hard with the brand. I'm trying to do all. Yeah, it's hard to do.
I know. I understand.
I need a producer, man. I need a producer now. All right. Like I said, that's episode 126. Got my brother Casey back with us today on the podcast. Appreciate anybody that tuned in today. Adam, appreciate your comments there. Always appreciate the baseball talk. Hopefully I'll get on with you again one of these times on 7th inning stretch again here. Baseball season right around the corner here. Like I said, a lot of good stuff we got into today. Tyler, Casey, hopefully we get to see you again, Casey. Till next time. Peace.
Peace.